Chosen ones, listen carefully and do not rush past this moment. This is not another video that appeared by chance. This is not emotional fantasy, coincidence, or imagination filling silence. This is a message from God, reaching you in precise divine alignment. You did not arrive here accidentally. Something within you recognized this moment before your mind tried to explain it. That quiet pause before you pressed play, that inner pull you could not ignore, that subtle knowing rising in your chest is not random. It is divine calling activating through spiritual discernment. You are here because you were called, and the timing is exact. Chosen one, what you are sensing right now is real. The subtle shifts inside you, the heightened awareness, the moments of clarity mixed with intensity, the feeling that something is unfolding beneath the surface of your life. This is not imagination. This is spiritual awakening. Awakening does not begin with loud signs. It begins with awareness. It begins when your spirit starts recognizing truth faster than logic can analyze it. That is what is happening to you now. Your inner world is responding to something eternal, something intentional, something aligned. This is a God's message, and it is reaching you because your awareness has reached the required level to receive it. Divine alignment does not force itself into distracted minds. It reveals itself to prepared spirits, and preparation does not always look like peace. Often it looks like confusion, isolation, emotional pressure, and deep internal questioning. If you have felt like you no longer fit where you once belonged, if conversations feel shallow, if certain energies exhaust you, if your tolerance for dishonesty has collapsed, that is not arrogance. That is chosen one awareness awakening within you. Divine confirmation does not argue. It resonates. Truth does not need to convince you when it belongs to you. When something is truly aligned, it lands softly but powerfully. It feels familiar even when it is new. That is why this message feels like recognition instead of persuasion. Something in you already knew this before it was spoken. That is how a message from God works. It does not introduce truth. It reminds you of it. Chosen one, the war you feel is real. There is a spiritual pressure surrounding your life because your light carries weight. Darkness does not challenge what is insignificant. Resistance only rises where purpose exists. If your path has felt unusually difficult, if delays, separations, and inner battles have shaped you, understand this clearly. It was not punishment. It was protection and preparation. Divine calling requires depth, and depth is forged through refinement. Your spiritual awakening did not begin today. Today is simply the moment you stopped dismissing it as imagination. Divine alignment often reveals itself when old illusions collapse. What once satisfied you no longer does. What once distracted you can no longer hold you. You may feel a sense of urgency without panic, intensity without fear, clarity without full explanation. This is chosen one awareness sharpening. You are learning to sense truth, not just think about it. Spiritual discernment grows quietly, but once activated, it cannot be undone. This message will clarify what you are sensing. It will explain why this awareness is rising now and how your life is being repositioned around it. Nothing is random anymore. Patterns are revealing themselves. Timing is becoming meaningful. Even your struggles are starting to make sense. That is divine confirmation at work. God does not waste experiences. Every season you survived added perception to your spirit. Chosen one, understand this. You were never broken. You were becoming, and becoming often feels uncomfortable because it requires shedding old versions of yourself. Spiritual awakening is not about becoming better than others. It is about becoming honest with yourself. It is about alignment, responsibility, and truth. And truth demands courage. This is a message from God. Not to flatter you, but to awaken you. Your light is necessary. Your awareness matters. Your obedience will shape more than just your own life. That is why you were called. That is why the pressure increased. That is why this moment found you. If this touched your soul, if something inside you quietly agreed, if you feel seen rather than impressed, comment 111, not as superstition, but as acknowledgement. Because you know it now, you are not imagining, you were called. The sensation you can explain. Chosen one, let us return to the beginning of what you are feeling, because this sensation did not appear out of nowhere. It did not arrive randomly, and it is not something your mind invented to cope with life. What you are sensing is real, and it has weight. There is a reason it feels different from imagination. Imagination is noisy. It rushes. It demands attention. What you are experiencing is quieter, deeper, and more persistent. It lingers even when you try to ignore it. That is the first sign of prophetic sensitivity awakening within you. Many chosen ones describe this season as confusing at first. There is pressure in the chest, not pain, but presence. A feeling like something is expanding inside you. Moments of sudden clarity interrupt your normal thoughts. Old emotions surface without warning and release themselves through tears, exhaustion, or stillness. You may feel detached from versions of yourself that once defined you, as if old identities no longer fit. Your tolerance for noise, chaos, and falsehood has diminished. This is not instability. This is spiritual awakening expressing itself through the body, the emotions, and the spirit at the same time. Imagination begins in the mind. It is constructed, controlled, and often fueled by desire or fear. Spiritual discernment does not behave that way. Discernment arises from the spirit, and it speaks without forcing itself. It does not ask for permission from logic. It simply knows. That is why this awareness feels intrusive at times. You were trained to trust what you can see, prove, and explain. Divine calling activates before external evidence appears, which is why the early stages always feel internal and isolating. You feel something shifting, but nothing around you has changed yet. That gap creates doubt, but that doubt does not mean you are wrong. It means you are early. Chosen one awareness often begins with discomfort, because awareness disrupts illusion. You start noticing patterns you once ignored. You sense intentions behind words. You feel energy in environments and people. Certain places drain you. Certain conversations feel heavy. Certain relationships feel misaligned without any obvious reason. This is prophetic sensitivity sharpening. You are not becoming judgmental. You are becoming perceptive. Spiritual awakening refines your inner compass, and refinement can feel lonely before it feels empowering. Confusion in this season is not a sign of failure. It is divine confirmation in disguise. When awareness expands faster than understanding, the mind scrambles to keep up. That is why chosen ones often doubt themselves first. You were conditioned to value logic over intuition, evidence over inner knowing, consensus over calling. So when God's message begins unfolding internally, your training resists it. You question yourself. You minimize your experiences. You wonder if you are imagining things, but imagination fades when ignored. This does not. It grows stronger. God rarely speaks through audible voices. God speaks through alignment, repetition, timing, and resonance. The same themes keep returning. The same messages reach you through different sources. Certain words land deeply while others pass through you untouched. That is not coincidence. That is divine calling communicating through your awareness. When truth belongs to you, it finds you without effort. You do not chase it. It arrives. That is how a message from God unfolds internally. Chosen one, the reason this feels intense is because your light carries responsibility. Spiritual awakening is not entertainment. It is activation. The war you feel is real. There is resistance around your growth because growth threatens stagnation. Darkness does not fear noise. It fears clarity. And clarity is what you are gaining. That is why old distractions are losing their grip. That is why certain doors closed without explanation. That is why you were separated before you were elevated. Your divine calling did not begin when you became aware of it. It began long before. Awareness is simply the moment your spirit caught up with your assignment. And once awareness activates, it cannot be reversed. You cannot unknow what you now sense. You cannot return to unconscious living. This is chosen one awareness settling into place, steady and undeniable. This is a message from God. You are not imagining. You were called. The pressure is real because the purpose is real. The battle is real because your light is necessary. You are not breaking down. You are breaking through. And if this touched your soul, comment 111. Because you know it now. You were called. Why this is happening now? Chosen one, this is happening now because awakenings are seasonal, not accidental. Nothing about your life has been random, even when it felt disordered. There are seasons when awareness sleeps beneath the surface, and seasons when it rises with force. Long periods of dormancy are not delays, they are incubation. You were being prepared quietly while life appeared ordinary, confusing, or even stagnant. What you are sensing now is the alignment between preparation and purpose finally meeting. That is why it feels sudden. That is why it feels intense. Activation always feels abrupt to those who forget how long they were being shaped. The chosen one journey is marked by hidden seasons. You were growing roots before you ever saw fruit. While others seemed to advance faster, you were being fortified deeper. Separation, delays, losses, and unexplained endings were not punishments. They were conditions. Each closed door reduced distraction. Each disappointment sharpened discernment. Each lonely stretch strengthened your inner hearing. Spiritual awakening rarely announces itself with celebration. It arrives after refinement, when the noise has been stripped away and the spirit is finally quiet enough to recognize God's message. Divine confirmation always arrives internally before it manifests externally. God does not elevate what is not internally aligned. That is why awareness comes before evidence. You feel the shift before you see results. You sense the call before you understand the assignment. This is why this season feels internal, pressing, and clarifying all at once. You are not being teased. You are being tuned. Prophetic sensitivity increases when responsibility is near, because clarity is required to carry weight. Many chosen ones mistake this season for anxiety because the nervous system is adjusting to heightened perception. But what you are feeling is not fear, it is readiness. Anxiety scatters the mind. Spiritual awakening focuses it. Even when emotions surface, there is a strange steadiness beneath them. Even when confusion appears, there is a deeper knowing holding you together. That is divine calling asserting itself. Your spirit knows what your mind has not yet articulated. God increases prophetic sensitivity right before redirection, elevation, or assignment. You are being given the ability to perceive before you are asked to act. That is mercy. That is protection. Discernment is being sharpened because decisions ahead will matter. Relationships, environments, and opportunities will soon require clarity. This is why tolerance for misalignment is fading. This is why you can no longer ignore what once seemed manageable. You are not becoming difficult. You are becoming precise. Chosen one awareness is not about ego or superiority. If anything, it humbles you. Awareness brings accountability. You realize that your thoughts matter, your words carry weight, and your choices ripple outward. Spiritual awakening does not inflate identity, it refines it. You feel a growing responsibility to live truthfully, to move intentionally, to guard your spirit. That is discipline forming. That is alignment stabilizing. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are exactly on time within divine alignment. Comparison distorts calling. Your path required different preparation because your assignment is different. Timing is not measured by calendars, but by readiness. And readiness is measured internally. God's message reaches you when you can carry it, not when you demand it. This season is not asking you to rush. It is asking you to listen. Stillness is not stagnation when awareness is expanding. Trust is being built. Sensitivity is being calibrated. You are learning to recognize truth without chasing validation. That is maturity. That is growth. That is spiritual awakening, settling into its rightful place. Chosen one, circle back to this truth and anchor yourself in it. This is a message from God. You are not imagining what you feel. You were called. The war you sense is real because opposition only rises where purpose exists. Your light is necessary in this season, and that is why it is being protected, refined, and awakened now. Stand steady. Remain clear. Walk forward without fear. And if this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it. You were called. What to do with this awareness, chosen one? Now that you recognize what is awakening within you, the question is not what you feel, but how you respond. Awareness is not given to impress you, it is given to guide you. Spiritual awakening reaches a critical stage when sensing turns into stewardship. What you do with this awareness will determine how clearly your path unfolds from here. This is the moment where many either rush ahead in confusion or settle into alignment with wisdom. The first response required of you is stillness, not passivity, but grounded presence. When awareness increases, the instinct is often to act, explain, announce, or fix. But divine calling does not mature through impulsive movement. It matures through listening. Stillness allows spiritual discernment to separate impulse from instruction. Silence sharpens perception. When distractions fall away, truth becomes unmistakable. This is why your tolerance for noise is decreasing. Your spirit is protecting its clarity. Integrity becomes essential in this phase. Awareness without integrity creates imbalance. What you know must align with how you live. Small compromises now feel heavier than before because your conscience is more sensitive. That sensitivity is not weakness. It is prophetic sensitivity, refining your moral compass. When alignment is required, shortcuts collapse. You are being trained to move cleanly, not quickly. Obedience in small things builds trust for greater responsibility. You must also learn to protect your energy. Not everyone needs access to your inner world. Chosen one awareness brings discernment about where you share, how much you explain, and when you remain silent. Seeking external validation for internal truth drains clarity. You do not need agreement to be aligned. Truth stands whether it is applauded or ignored. When something is truly from God, it carries its own authority. You will feel less compelled to defend yourself and more grounded in knowing who you are becoming. Patience is not optional here. Divine insight unfolds in layers. What you are shown now is preparation, not the full picture. Acting prematurely can distort alignment and create unnecessary resistance. Divine calling is revealed progressively because your capacity grows progressively. You are not meant to carry everything at once. Trust the sequence. Timing is part of obedience. Waiting does not mean doubt. It means trust. Chosen ones often struggle here because awareness creates urgency. You sense importance, so you feel pressure. But urgency does not always mean movement. Sometimes urgency means refinement. Faith without fear develops when you learn to sit with truth instead of rushing to express it. Confidence without arrogance forms when you no longer need recognition to remain steady. Clarity without force emerges when alignment speaks louder than explanation. You are not here to convince anyone. Convincing is a function of insecurity. Alignment persuades without effort. When your life reflects truth, words become secondary. People will feel what you carry before they understand it. This is why restraint matters. Your presence is becoming part of your message. That is embodiment. That is maturity. Spiritual discernment sharpens as distractions fall away because focus returns to what matters. You may notice your desires simplifying, excess loses appeal, authenticity gains value. This is not loss. This is liberation. You are shedding weight that cannot travel with you into the next phase. Divine confirmation will continue arriving internally, affirming choices before outcomes appear. Learn to trust that inner witness. It has been trained through fire. Chosen one, the war you sense is real, but you are not meant to fight it with noise or force. You overcome through alignment. Light does not struggle against darkness. It simply shines. Your light is necessary, which is why it is being guarded, refined, and instructed. This is a message from God. You are not imagining this awareness. You are called. Stand steady. Walk humbly. Trust deeply. And if this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it now. You were called. The moment before manifestation. Chosen one, there is always a moment that comes just before manifestation, and this is that moment. It does not look dramatic on the outside, but internally it feels unmistakable. Everything you have sensed until now has been preparing you for this precise point of convergence, where awareness stabilizes and direction begins to emerge. This is the phase where faith matures into certainty, and certainty replaces the need for constant reassurance. You are no longer awakening. You are standing awake. This stage often feels quieter than expected. Many assume that when purpose approaches, life becomes loud and obvious. In truth, it becomes clear and still. Noise fades because distraction is no longer necessary. The inner chaos settles because alignment has taken root. You may notice that you are less reactive, less desperate to be understood, less tempted to explain yourself. This is not withdrawal. This is grounding. You are learning to move from knowing rather than searching. Chosen one awareness at this level brings discernment without suspicion and confidence without aggression. You can sense when something is aligned and when it is not, without needing to label it or fight it. This is where spiritual authority forms. Authority does not come from force. It comes from alignment that cannot be shaken. When you stop chasing signs and start recognizing patterns, you know you are ready. Many chosen ones struggle here because this stage demands trust without immediate reward. You feel close, but you cannot yet see the full shape of what is coming. This is intentional. If everything were revealed at once, it would overwhelm you. Divine calling unfolds in proportion to your capacity to carry it. Right now, your capacity is being strengthened through restraint. You are learning to hold truth without rushing to release it. This is also where temptation returns in subtle forms. Old habits may resurface. Old distractions may call for your attention. Old voices may question your clarity. This is not regression, it is testing. Alignment is tested not when you are weak, but when you are strong enough to choose differently. What you say no to now determines how clean your path remains going forward. You may also feel a growing separation between who you are and who you were, not in shame, but in distance. Certain memories no longer pull at you. Certain attachments no longer define you. This is evidence of integration. Spiritual awakening has moved from concept to embodiment. You are not trying to become someone new. You are allowing what was always within you to take its rightful place. This is the moment to remain disciplined without becoming rigid, faithful without becoming passive, and confident without becoming proud. Balance is essential now. Extremes distort alignment. You do not need to isolate completely, nor do you need to explain yourself constantly. Discernment will show you when to speak and when to remain silent. Trust that guidance. It has been trained. Chosen one, understand this clearly. Delay at this stage is not denial. Stillness is not stagnation. You are being positioned, not paused. There is a difference. Positioning requires precision, and precision requires patience. What is being prepared around you must match what has been prepared within you. When those two align, movement will be natural, not forced. The war you sense has shifted. It is no longer about survival. It is about stewardship. You are being trusted with awareness, influence, and direction. That trust carries weight, but it also carries support. You are not walking this path alone. Guidance will continue to arrive as needed, not in excess. Enough for each step. Return to this truth and anchor yourself here. This is a message from God. You are not imagining what you feel. You were called. The resistance was real because the purpose is real. Your light is necessary, which is why it has been guarded until now. Stand firm. Remain aligned. Walk forward without fear. If this touched your soul, comment 111. Because you know it. You were called. Walking as the awakened one, chosen one, this is the phase where awareness becomes movement, not outward performance, but inward embodiment. After recognition, after understanding, after preparation, there comes a quieter but more demanding season, learning how to walk while awake. This is where many hesitate, because walking as an awakened one means you can no longer live unconsciously. You are accountable to what you know now. This is not pressure meant to crush you. It is responsibility meant to stabilize you. Spiritual awakening does not remove challenges from your life. It changes how you meet them. You no longer react blindly. You respond with discernment. You begin to notice how quickly peace leaves when you compromise alignment. That discomfort is guidance. It is not condemnation. Divine calling sharpens your inner compass so that even small misalignments feel heavy. This is how integrity is built. This is how trust between you and God is established. As a chosen one, walking forward does not mean rushing into visibility. Many assume awakening means instant exposure, but most assignments begin in hidden obedience. You are being trained to move without applause, to obey without explanation, to trust without evidence. This is why silence has become sacred to you. Noise disrupts clarity. Stillness strengthens it. God's message continues to unfold, not through dramatic signs, but through steady alignment. You may notice that your circle continues to narrow. This is not rejection. It is refinement. Not everyone can walk with you where you are going. Some connections were seasonal. Some were instructional. Some were necessary for survival, but not for destiny. Letting go does not make you disloyal. It makes you obedient. Spiritual discernment teaches you when to hold on and when to release without resentment. Walking as the awakened one also requires discipline of thought. You are learning that not every thought deserves agreement. Awareness reveals how powerful attention is. Where you place it, energy follows. This is why worry feels louder now and peace feels more intentional. You are being trained to choose focus instead of reacting to stimuli. This is maturity. This is strength forming quietly. Divine confirmation will continue appearing as alignment between your inner knowing and external events. Conversations will answer questions you never spoke. Timing will open doors without force. Resistance will appear where you are not meant to go. Ease will follow obedience, even when it leads you away from comfort. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that you are walking correctly. Chosen one awareness also reshapes how you see yourself. You stop identifying solely with your past. Old labels lose authority. Mistakes no longer define you. You understand that growth required ignorance at one stage. Compassion increases, both for yourself and others. You realize that everyone is operating from their level of awareness. This understanding frees you from the need to judge or correct. Truth does not need enforcement. It reveals itself naturally. There will be moments when you miss who you used to be. Simplicity has its comfort, but you cannot return to unconsciousness once awareness has arrived. That door is closed for your protection. The longing you feel is not for the past, but for rest. Rest will come, but it will come through alignment, not retreat. Peace follows obedience, not avoidance. The war you sensed earlier does not disappear. It changes form. It becomes subtler. It challenges consistency instead of belief, discipline instead of faith. This is why grounding matters. Daily alignment is built through intention, honesty, and humility. You are learning to check in with your spirit before reacting with your emotions. This is how authority stabilizes. Remember this clearly, you are not meant to carry this alone. God does not awaken without supporting. Guidance continues. Protection remains. Correction is gentle when you listen early. You are not being tested to fail. You are being trusted to grow. Divine calling does not demand perfection. It requires sincerity. Chosen one, walking forward does not mean having all answers. It means trusting the one who does. Step-by-step alignment is enough. Daily obedience is enough. Quiet faith is enough. You are becoming someone who moves with intention instead of impulse. That is power. That is readiness. This is a message from God, reminding you that your awakening was not accidental. You were called to walk differently because your presence affects environments. Your clarity shifts atmospheres. Your obedience creates pathways. Others will one day walk through. Your light is not for display. It is for guidance. Stand firmly in who you are becoming. You do not need to hurry. You do not need to hide. You simply need to remain aligned. And if this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it now. You were called. Conclusion, this is your confirmation. Chosen one, we have now arrived at the moment your spirit already recognized before your mind could explain it. Let this truth settle deeply and permanently within you. What you are sensing is real. It is intentional. It is divinely orchestrated. This is not imagination, not emotional projection, and not wishful thinking. This is recognition. This is awareness responding to truth. This is a message from God meeting you at the exact moment you were ready to receive it. God's message rarely arrives with noise or spectacle. It arrives quietly, steadily, and with authority. It does not rush you. It anchors you, and once it reaches you, nothing remains the same. Awareness cannot be undone. You may ignore it for a moment, but you cannot unfeel it. You may question it briefly, but you cannot unknow it. That is how divine confirmation works. It does not fade with distraction. It deepens with time. Chosen one awareness is not something you chose out of curiosity. It awakened because it was time. You were prepared through experiences you did not understand while they were happening, through losses that refined you, through silence that strengthened you, through isolation that clarified you. Nothing was wasted. Everything was working toward this moment of recognition. Spiritual awakening does not begin when life becomes easy. It begins when truth becomes unavoidable. You may have spent years feeling different without language for it. You may have sensed that your life did not follow a normal path. You may have felt resistance without knowing why, pressure without explanation, responsibility without instruction. Now you understand. You were being shaped for alignment. Divine calling does not shout. It positions. And now the position has been reached. This is your confirmation, not because someone told you so, but because your spirit agrees. Truth resonates. It does not beg, it lands. And when it lands, it brings peace, even while it demands courage. You are being asked to walk forward differently now. Not louder, not faster, but clearer, with humility, discipline, and trust in divine alignment. You are not alone in this awakening. Across the world, chosen ones are sensing the same shift. Many have never met, yet their experiences mirror one another. That is not coincidence. That is synchronization. When timing aligns globally, awareness rises collectively. You are part of something larger than your individual story, even though your story matters deeply. The war you feel is real, but it is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to focus you. Opposition does not appear where there is no threat. Resistance does not rise where there is no light. Your light is necessary, which is why it has been tested, protected, and refined. You were not spared difficulty because difficulty was the training ground, and you survived because survival was required for the assignment. Chosen one, let this message ground you instead of excite you. Let it steady you instead of inflate you. Spiritual awakening is not about ego, it is about obedience. It is about alignment. It is about becoming trustworthy with what you carry. God's message did not find you to entertain you. It found you to activate you. Walk forward with courage, not fear. Walk forward with humility, not pride. Walk forward with trust, not anxiety. You do not need to announce yourself. You do not need to prove anything. Alignment will speak for you. Divine confirmation will continue arriving as you remain faithful to what you know internally. If you feel aligned, comment 777 now, not as superstition but as acknowledgement, a declaration that you recognize this moment and accept the awareness that has awakened within you. And if this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it now. This is a message from God. You are not imagining. You were called.